What's up, you guys? I'm here at SlimXTeamSymmetry, here to bring you guys the next episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Yu-Gi-Oh! And yes, we are doing it on the most delicious of all desserts, the Madolches. I have absolutely no idea where Konami came up with the idea of putting a dog, a cat, a butler. I have no idea what these are. If this is a maiden or something. I have no idea where they came up with that idea. Where they came up with the idea of desserts. I literally could not believe that this was actually an archetype. When people told me about it months and months ago before it was ever released, they're like, "Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is turning into a dessert game," and I'm like, "What are you even talking about?" I had no idea what they meant. And Madolches came out, and I'll be straight up honest, I had no interest in them whatsoever, for the simple fact that I had no idea what they did. And even to this day, I'm still a little confused of what the deck does. The deck did top a regional. There was a top 4 deck profile, and I took some ideas from there. I took some ideas from other videos I got, and I got so many people today. I put a status on Facebook, and I asked them to send me a deck list, and people sent me, I had like 24 messages about it, and I had people responding to my statuses. And I mean, I just want to thank you all so much. I don't want to go through and name everybody, because if I forget anybody, they'll be offended or they'll think I forgot them. I just want to say thank you to everyone who responded to me. I looked at all your messages. I read all your messages. I looked at your deck profiles on YouTube. It just gave me a general idea. And like I said, these are never deck profiles. This was just something I put together. I don't know why I even made it into a deck. I put it up here the best I could. But I wanted to look at Madolches in general and talk about what's good, what's bad, and of course the Yu-Gi-Oh part about them. I'll be straight up honest, when we get to the Yu-Gi-Oh part, it involves this card. And I looked it up because I was like, it's an Ultimate Offering OTK, that's kind of busted, so we'll get to that later. But Madolches, what do they do, and like the general idea of them. So what I heard from everyone is that Madolche Mageline, I believe his name. I apologize if I say any of these names wrong. I always say Yu-Gi-Oh names wrong. But this is your Stratos. When it's summoned, you're able to add a Madolche card to your hand. That's really, really good, because everyone knows that Stratos and Heroes is broken. So a Stratos in any deck is broken. Prophecy have it. Madolches have it. So that's really, really cool. Other cards, there's the Gelato, I guess. Gelato is amazing. If you guys have ever been to Italy like I have, Gelato is godlike. I could live on Gelato, like no lie, it's amazing. What this card does is when it's special summon, you add a Madolche spell and trap card from your deck to your hand, and you must control a face-up beast. So basically you can use... I call him the dog just because he's the dog. This card's really, really cute, and it's really, really cool. You're able to target a Madolche, you're able to return it to your hand, and this card will gain 300. So this card becomes an 1800, and with the Madolche field, the Madolche Chateau, it gains another 500, so it becomes a 2300 beater. Pretty, pretty cool. You can bounce a card back and reuse it. I think that's really, really versatile in the deck. So you can use it with... Gelato, but I heard the main card that it's used with is with the kitty cat, which is Mew Fuel. Oh god, why am I even trying? But the cat, and it's really hard to pronounce these names, like Mew Fuel Lily. Like, I'm not good at sounding stuff out. It's Yu-Gi-Oh, but so the kitty cat basically is your Boggart Knight, and when it's normal summon, you can special summon another Madolche. So basically, you can summon this, then you can summon the Gelato, and when the card is special summon, you can add a Madolche spell or trap. So you could search for Madolche Ticket, you could search for Madolche Chateau. The deck gets to what it needs to get to, which is really, really cool. Those were some of the combos. Other cards that were mentioned in some deck profiles, this was not in all deck profiles, but was the Marmalade, instead of Marmalade, but Marmalade. When it's flipped face up, you can target a Madolche spell or trap in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So basically, it's kind of like a Magician of Faith, but it's a one-sided Magician of Faith in the fact that it only gets a Madolche spell. But the fact that it gets Madolche spell or trap's pretty cool. I put this in here, like down here, just because it's a trap and it was the only one I could think of. But yeah, I saw this in someone else's deck profile. That's why I added here. And ignore the staples. The staples aren't even relevant except the Ultimate Offering. Other things about this deck is Madolche Pudding Sense, the Princess. This card's really good. It's able to get rid of Macrocosmos, which hurts this deck a lot. So this card's really good. That's basically like a rundown on the Madolches and what they do. Now, I was trying to think to myself, what's so good about this deck? So I looked it up a little bit, and it says that the deck is a deck that you want to spam the field with little monsters to build your advantage. And this deck is really, really good against cards like Torrential Tribute, Mirror Force, Dark Hole, all that, because they all return to the deck. Instead of going to the graveyard, they return to the deck. And I think that's really, really interesting. There's never been a deck, except Gladiator Beast, that the monsters ever return to the deck for you to get advantage. I thought that that was really interesting for a deck like this, is that it's not winning for the fact that it's getting to everything it needs. It searches everything it needs, and it goes back and it recycles. It's the best recycling deck, I think, outside of Gladiator Beast. I think the fact that they go back to the deck is really, really cool. It's almost impossible to deck this deck out. If it's playing against Lightsworns, it can slow roll Lightsworns into decking out, which is really interesting. And I find that that's really, really cool about the deck, is that everything recycles back, you reuse it, you have an endless supply of resources, and you have some pretty busted plays. Like, honestly, like, these monsters are really, really small, so they get around cards like Bottomless. The Cat gets around Bottomless. The Stratos gets around Bottomless. All the monsters basically get around Bottomless, except, you know, Messengerado doesn't, but still, the fact that these little monsters get around Bottomless is cool. Cards like Deep Prison could hurt them, but cards like Mirror Force, cards that are mass removal, really don't hurt this deck, because when they're destroyed and sent to the graveyard, they go back to the deck instead. That's really, really busted. Other things that are good, the Chateau is really, really good. It makes it so that the Madolches all gain 500, and when it's in your graveyard, you return it to the deck. You can add it to your hand instead. When I read that, I had to double take, because I was like, really? So instead of sending it back to the deck, you add it to your hand. That's so good. You can just reuse the cards. Like, I think this deck has the best, like I've already said, the best recycling process of any deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think the fact that you can just recycle everything is amazing. Other things is that Madolche Ticket's really cool. You're able to add a Madolche monster from your hand to your deck when when one of the cards return to the deck, which is all they do. So basically, you return one, you add one. It's really, really cool. I think the whole engine is very interesting. And it's very confusing, too, because you expect, you know, I send a card to the graveyard, it's out of my way. Not with Madolches. With Madolches, they return back to the deck, they come out again, and they just keep recycling themselves. And I think that that's the thing, is that the deck is amazing for the fact that it can make your opponent waste all their resources. Their torrentials are gone. Their Dark Hole is gone. Their mass removal is gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. Magician of Faith is no longer in. Magician of Faith is on the forbidden list. It isn't there for you to recycle that. Once your Dark Hole is gone, once your multiple torrentials, Mirror Force, all that's gone, you're at the mercy of these little dessert monsters and kitty, cat, and dog. And I think that that's just really, really cool, is that it's a very unique deck. It's a deck unlike any other deck, because all the resources get wasted, and then you can pretty much just come back from there. Once you're in Yu-Gi-Oh, once your resources are gone, you pretty much lost the game, like, unless you're just like really lucky or really sacky. So I feel that that's what's good about the deck. Another thing that's good about the deck, how the hell like do you prepare for this deck? Like, if you go to a locals or something and you're used to Atlanteans, you're used to Wind Up, you're used to Macro Rabbit, how in the hell do you prepare for Madolches when it's a deck that is just, it's not seen a lot, and when you play against it, I'm telling you straight up, you're gonna have to read like half the cards. I played against it once with Dino Rabbit, and the only reason I won is because I opened Rabbit and like D-Fissure or Macro, because I noticed that the deck will die to Macrocosmos if they don't have a way of getting rid of it. So I feel that that's one thing, which I'll get to in a little bit. But the deck's surprise element is what makes it really good. Its surprise factor, its surprise element is really good. No, a lot of people are going to say the deck's garbage because people just don't like new decks. And I'll be straight up honest, I was the same way. When people were like, yeah, Madolche is good, I was like, well, what does it do? They just return to the deck. And I'm like, how is that good? How is a deck that returns all its resources back to the deck and you have to draw them again? How is it good? Well, now that I've done some research, I really see what it does. You search for what you need, you use it, you reuse it, you draw into it again, and you keep going. You keep destroying resources left and right, and once you've destroyed those resources, you're in the clear to go for game, and I think that's really, really cool. Another thing that's broken is the Tiaramisu, which is an awesome dessert, by the way. Just gotta say, like, straight up. Like, I'm sorry, I'm being really corny in this video, but the fact that they're all named after dessert, which I love, is just amazing. So anyways, the Tiaramisu is the queen. It's the main XYZ. It's a rank 4. It's really, really cool. You detach an XYZ material from this card. You target 2 Madolche cards in your graveyard. You shuffle them back into the deck, and then you're able to shuffle cards your opponent controls into the deck up to the number of cards returned. So that's really cool. You can clear your opponent's field, shuffle back into your deck, and if you have Chateau, you can just add them to your hand. I mean, like, what? That's so good. Like, there's so many combos with that. Like, I see a lot of busted combos, and this is actually a deck I want to try out now. The deck's not that expensive, so it does have that that budget factor, I think. And I mean, it's fun. Like, I'm starting to realize that decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, if you're someone who just goes to locals, you're just someone who plays with friends, decks like this are fun. I mean, come on, who doesn't want to play with a deck full of desserts? Like, seriously, this is like the deck Majin Buu would love. Like, I know there's DBZ fans out there. I'm a huge DBZ fan, and Majin Buu would absolutely love this deck. He'd probably eat the cards, and it would be like, oh my god, really? But yeah, that's what I think is good about the deck, is that it has a really good engine. It gets to what it needs to. It recycles nicely. Pretty much impossible to deck it out, and it does have some busted plays. So I feel that the deck as a whole is decent. I feel that other decks are better. You know, clearly Macro Rabbit, Wind Up, all those decks are better, and decks can hurt this deck every once in a while. But I feel that its surprise factor is something that you should always take into account. Like I've said with decks like X-Sabers and Prophecy and other decks like that, if you don't properly side or are not properly prepared for the matchup, it will take you by surprise. Now, what's bad about the deck? Straight up, Macrocosmos wrecks the deck for the fact that the monsters would have to go to the graveyard. They can't. They get removed. Very hard to get them back. You only run like one levy or maybe two max, and it's very hard to get them back unless you're running Return from a Different Dimension, which most decks I haven't even seen run. So Macrocosmos hurts the deck. Rabbit is more consistent than this deck. Windups are more consistent than this deck. Windups can come out and call spells, and pretty much that's like it. They can call traps, they can do whatever, and they can just win the game from there. Other things is that the deck is pretty weak, so if you hit them with deck dev, they pretty much lost everything. I believe it says it has to go from the field. I believe it has to go from the field to the graveyard. Let me make sure. When the either by battle, by card effect. It says by card effect, so I wonder, actually, this is a question for everyone out there. If you deck Devastation Virus this deck, do the Madolches get their effects? I honestly do not know, as I have not. I've only played against it once, and I wasn't using deck dev, so I actually do not know the answer to that. So if you guys could let me know in the comments below, I'd really appreciate it. But I would say deck dev could seriously hurt this deck if what I'm thinking is true, because all the monsters are weak. Other things is that brute force, like in decks like Dark World, decks like Chaos Dragons, decks like Dino Rabbit, like brute force big monsters can really cause trouble for decks like this. But I feel that most Madolche approaches have been stun variants. They run a lot of traps and stuff. So I mean, so that does give them the edge. I feel that they still are versatile. Another card that I came upon, I don't know if people even run it, but I saw it and I thought it was really cool. Madolche Palooza. And it's really cool because you can summon all Madolches, and then you can do some crazy shenanigans, and then they go back to the deck during the end phase, and when they go back to the deck, you know, shenanigans happens. I feel Madolche Palooza is a pretty cool card. I mean, I'm probably wrong, but I read it, I thought about it, and I was like, oh, that'd be a pretty cool card, and some people do run it, so I mean, that card's good. So yeah, so that's what's good, and like I told you what's bad, the deck's not as consistent as other decks, it loses to other decks, and it, you know, it gets overpowered, but I feel that if you run a lot of traps, you can really kind of compete against that, so I feel that there is potential in that sense if you make it a stun variant. And then the Yu-Gi-Oh part of it is what I heard, the Ultimate Offering. If you have Ultimate Offering and Madolche, apparently you win the game. Apparently you just go Madolche, you search, you make Tiaramisu, you do all these crazy combos. You eventually make Shockmaster, and you have all these other monsters on the field. You basically go for game with that. So that alone told me that the deck's got a really interesting OTK potential that a lot of people wouldn't expect from a deck like that. Granted, Ultimate Offering is one card. However, the way this deck searches, the way this deck does its thing, you could pot a duality into it, prepare for next turn, the deck could pull it off a lot, and I feel that a Shockmaster at any time of the game is very crucial to winning a game. So I feel that the deck does have a lot of potential, but that's my whole little synopsis on the deck. I'm sorry it's not as, I guess the word would be as in-depth as other decks, but I really don't know about this deck. I actually don't really own any of these cards, so I couldn't build a deck if I wanted to. I know it's very cheap. I just never really picked the stuff up to keep. But let me know what you guys think below. Let me know your real thoughts on Madolche. Let me know, does the deck have potential? Is there stuff coming out that gives the deck more potential? You know, what is it going to take for the deck to be really, really good, really, really competitive? Or is it competitive now? Are we just not using it for the fact that other decks are better? I honestly don't know, but I think the deck's really cool. I think it's really cute, and I think it's a deck that could be, could just be an underdog, basically, of the format, because, like I've said before, when a deck is just completely forgotten and not prepared for, it does take the opponent by surprise. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are below. You know, thumbs up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really tried to do my best I could on Madolches. I'm sure I'm missing some cards here. for the Madolche engine, but this is all I could really come up with. And like I said, this is a template, not a deck profile. So if there's anything missing, you know, comment below, and I'll be sure to bring it up in another video. If anyone has a Madolche deck profile for me, any up and coming channels, I'd like to do a collabo with it, just so that you guys can get more Madolche I guess info related to the game, and that way you guys can learn a lot more about it. But comment below with your thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thumbs it up, and thank you for watching. And I'm gonna go have some dessert because this deck made me really, really hungry. All right, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the deck profile. Oh, and I got timed out. Oh, that happened. Yeah.